Holla ballers! Now I turned the microphone on. Oh no! The fail to start the show with no microphone. That's me. That kind of sums up my week in proper fashion. Hello. Oh, tragedy strikes the Preach Gaming household. Oh dear. Yeah, no daily yesterday. My PC is emitting an odor. I took it apart today. It looks like the cheapy graphics card I put in it. I pushed it too hard again. What can I say? I've got things to do. I've got things to do. And zero fucks to give about waiting. Waiting, yeah. So we have a lot of fans blowing into the PC and the air conditioning unit is on. Hopefully it's not disturbing you. I set it to a level where it shouldn't really interfere with too much. But we're keeping things cool. We're keeping things cool in here because there's an odor. There's an odor. Welcome everybody to the Daily. It is of course Workshop Wednesday where we take footage of you guys looking super fucking awesome and try and make you even better. It's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. Now I do have a great deal of time due to the PC issues I had last night and today to go through a lot of workshops. So I've selected one that I think is going to be really good, and then I have another one which kind of has a few little errors in it that we can look at. Particularly UI. You guys like looking at UI. We might even start with that one to make sure we get a good showing. We're going to be looking at a Rogue and Moonkin. Rogues and Moonkins. People are in love with the Moonkins right now. They're amazing. They're actually performing so fucking well that they're on par to be one of the most represented classes in our raids. A long way from vanilla, right? A long way from the Oomkins that we knew in vanilla who did 5 or 6 attacks and then went completely Oom. And people tried to justify, I shit you not, a druid tried to justify being a Moonkin in one of my raids when I was a raid leader on the basis that if he didn't use dots and he didn't cast Wrath, he could keep mana throughout most of the fight. Pretty spectacular that he came along. Why you no do Brewmaster? I have a Brewmaster video, but for some reason it was showing up as 50 seconds of YouTube footage, so I didn't use that. Just one. Was it Zoomkins? Was it Zoomkins? Who was it? Who was that guy? Who was that guy? Yeah, just Starfire. I had Moonkins and Shadow Priests try and justify a million ways why they would be useful to our raid, despite the fact that they provided little to no damage. One of the most frustrating periods of my entire WoW life was raiding with a Shadow Priest. Now, there were some Shadow Priests who did really well in vanilla because the rest of their guild sucked. That's why. That's why you did well. We also had a Shadow Priest in my main guild towards the end of vanilla who had the best gear on the server. It was awful. Absolutely atrocious damage, and everybody hated him for it. Moonkin's come a long way, as has the Shadow Priest, and are now one of the best represented classes. Especially in 25-mans, you'll see 2 to 3 Moonkins, sometimes 4, in those raids. And they've come a long way and actually doing tremendously well in Mists of Pandaria. So it's always worth looking at them, as they are kind of flavour of the month as well, and they look like a funky space chicken. Lots of people rolling towards them. The Rogue, however, we're going to start with, has always been good. Always been good. We used to take 8 Rogues in vanilla. 8 Rogues to our raid, sometimes only 6. It was weird to see only 6 rogues in our raids. Good times, right? Only 6 Rogues, something's wrong. And Rogues are just pretty much the only melee class in Mists of Pandaria that are surviving the shitstorm that is Throne of Thunder and the amount of ranged beneficialness there is in there. Beneficialness, great word. So we're going to look at a Rogue today who's in a normal mode guild. 5. And he's about to do some Jin Rock on 10-man. So I'm going to play it for a few seconds. Now, the UI is not the best. However, the Rogue did include a message, which is important. He did include a lovely message to me saying that he played in windowed mode, which threw his UI scaling off. That does happen. That does happen. It's pretty annoying. If you change the resolution, your add-ons just don't care. They don't give a shit. They stay as they were, and they go all over the place because the background has altered. It's kind of annoying. So we're going to look at his general UI layout. If people say things are overlapping, not particularly helpful because that's because of windowed mode. But what do we think overall? Let's go in. Whoosh. Hey, off we go. Go on, our Rogue. Can't this? What's that? Can't see this. Can't see this. The Rogue. Night Elf Rogue. Represent. Represent those Night Elf Rogues in true style. Looks like an excellent transmog. UI's overlapping. In before Ali. That Ali. That alley. That alley, keeping it real. Keeping it real for the home team. Very cluttered. Very cluttered. Why you know sniff the asshole? Oh, the WoW chat program tagged. Even at normal scale it would be cluttered. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I was aware when I read this that the UI was going to be all over the place. I was kind of expecting things to be overlapping, like this here kind of sucks. But wow! Do we need that? No. No, we do not need to see the last 200 pages of chat by any means. It would be very cluttered. This is the annoying one. This part of MSBT is so useless. It is absolutely so useless. I really recommend to any of you to turn this shit off. 25 energy, 2 combo points, you gained renew, minus Windsong, finish it, 4 combo points. None of this is useful information. It's just stuff that passes you by. It absolutely passes you by. It's so fucking garbage. It really is. Just get rid of it, go away, leave it alone. It's horrible. I can't express to you enough how much having all that useless information to you is just a nuisance. Because you don't read it, it's just a part of the screen that you can no longer look at. There's nothing more to it than that. You can't look at that part of the screen anymore. It's just like blocked. It's full of nonsense and bullshit, right? That you can't really do anything with. You just got to ignore the crap out of it. Yeah, it's just bad. It's just bad. So we're going to watch for a couple of seconds. Let's see if you can pick out what the hell we're going to be talking about today. Now, there's a few things here. I actually don't mind his positioning too much. There's a little bit of backpedaling that goes on, which isn't the best. It isn't the best. But overall, positioning's not a terrible thing. Not a terrible thing. But we're not being a rogue. Number one rule of being a rogue, always, if it's going to affect our DPS, is you cannot get rid of us. When I stream a rogue, when I'm playing it, I'm always pointing out is that I am all over this motherfucker. We sniff the nutsack, is what we say about the rogues. Not really picked up on that, and that's noticeable from our pull. It's noticeable from our pull, especially, as we go into the fight. We got 4 seconds here. Look where the fuck we are! We're in fucking Orgrimmar again. We're absolutely in Orgrimmar. I do not get this. If this was LFR, I can understand, right? In LFR, I kind of get it. I kind of understand in LFR, because you're not sure if people are going to pull. It's not even really an excuse in LFR, as you can get really close anyway as a rogue. It's not even of that. In LFR, it's kind of excusable. You don't know when that jerk-off tank's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to pull now, and just like charges into the pack, locks everybody out of the dungeon. You know, that kind of dickhead that you meet in every single dungeon. Oh! I have a story. I have a story to tell. I met myself yesterday. To add to my week of nightmares, of broken graphics cards, of my second PC burning up, and general shit going on in real life this week, I met myself from vanilla. Yeah, I met my super extreme asshole self, and it was kind of amazing. What a guy. What a guy. To give you a scenario, a little side story here for you. We're in the Moghashun Palace, I believe it's called, the 5-man, and I am filming some Affliction Warlock stuff, right? So I'm on my Warlock, I'm Spect Affliction, I'm getting the footage ready for that wonderful guide that's coming out for you guys, and I'm just practicing, and I'm just doing my general thing. We get a tank, Protection Paladin, tough stuff, right? That Protection Paladin, really pushing himself to the max. So we're in the Moghashun Palace, and instantly the tank starts pulling everything to the first room. Just touches it once and runs off, and he's wearing the full challenge mode transmog set. So I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of okay with this. I'm like, cool. Now I can show some Warlock on the move. I can show the way of multi-dotting, of draining soul as things passing by, proccing more soul shards to dot more things. The fact that movement means nothing to a Warlock. Great footage for me. A big super fast tank allows me to do things, okay? It allows me to film things in a way that people go, oh, look what I can do while I'm moving. So I'm actually kind of happy about this. So we get to the first boss, and life's pretty good. Life's pretty good. I'm just finding the screenshot as well. I had actually forgotten this had happened, but it was funny. So life's going pretty well for me. I'm kind of a happy little bunny. And we kill the first boss, everything's fine. We move on to the trash to the next boss. The Ironhides and the Skulkers that stab you in the face. And we're going super, super fast. Super fast. This tank is not going to die under any circumstances. Never going to die in this dungeon. He could solo the whole place himself. It was fine. But that doesn't mean people were slacking. We had ourselves a DK and a Monk who were both keeping up with me. My Warlock's gear is not that terrible. So we were all averaging around 60 to 80k. which isn't bad, averaging that DPS in a 5-man with a few blues left over. So we're rolling through the dungeon. We get to the second boss, right? Is he called Gekkan? Gekkan? I think he's called Gekkan. That guy. You know the guy who's got the 4 ads down below and you jump off the balcony. That guy. So we get to that guy. Now I have the decision to make as a warlock. Do I get rid of my pet and then instantly resummon it as we're jumping down, or what? What do I do here? So we're approaching it and I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about, am I going to despawn my pet or not? Right? That's the decision in my process. So we're doing the 2 skulkers way before the last 2 trash mobs. That's what I'm thinking about. Our tank, hero as he is, decides at this point he's just going to aggro the 2 things that cast the hex thing, you know, the mobs, and just leap into the fire down below. He's just pulling the whole world, doesn't give a shit, pulls the whole world. So I was like, well, these things are going to run down anyway. I'm not dismissing my pet. So I just dive off the balcony as well, as do the rest of the group. No problems at all. Obviously the 2 he'd pulled come running down, blah, 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 blah. 20 seconds into this fight, he's not tanking the 2 side mobs. Usually what I would do is, if I have the ability, I would silence one, bring that in, and then tank them all together in a nice big ball. YOLO swag, right? What our guy decides to do is tank the 3 melee mobs in the middle and ignore the other 2. Not got much problem with that either, right? So I cast Fear on 1. Nobody else was doing anything about it. It was going untanked. It was attacking the healer. And then suddenly, from beyond the darkness, from out of nowhere, comes some rage. Caps lock rage. Oh yeah. If you, stupid motherfuckers, can't attack the skull, then you can tank all of this by yourself. And I was bemused by this, and little did I notice that out of all the mobs that were stood randomly placed around the room that he wasn't tanking or trying to, that he had placed a skull on a random mob. Now, I hadn't noticed. You know why? Because we were AoEing the shit out of the place and had done since we got into the dungeon. Surprisingly enough, neither of the other 2 DPSs. Nobody noticed it. He bubbles and sprints as fast as he humanly can, as fast as his little legs will carry him. This little wonderful blood elf and his stylish transmog, no hints, charges heroically towards the elevator and hides behind a corner and then puts his back to it. And now refuses to tank anything, attempting to kill the entire group. While doing this, he's spamming in caps about how moronical it is that nobody could attack a skull, such a simple thing to this challenge mode hero, who has of course mastered every aspect of this 5-man dungeon. He doesn't attack anything. I instantly noticed that his damage has dropped to the bottom. Now, what do I do in response? That's the question. What do I do in response? Well, first of all, I soulstone myself, of course. I soulstone myself, preparing for the wipe in which I will not res him. So I soulstone myself, and then I soul shatter, so I lose all aggro and they go towards the tank. However, our DK friend isn't an idiot. Nobody was an idiot in this dungeon, in fact. It was actually a group of good players, just one with a bad attitude. And goes Blood Presence, tanks everything as Frost, and kills everything. He then begins to spout this heroic knowledge about how we are so overgeared for this dungeon that it carries our idiocy and how we're all absolutely horrifically bad players and how dare we be in his presence. I respond with, you remind me of myself. I was a piece of shit too. I was actually really angry. I'd had a bad day. PC was starting to smell. Was worried about live streaming. Whatever, you know. Caught me at the wrong time, really. Caught me at the wrong time. Then he started getting a little bit like, you know, when people are really pretentious and believe that if they are correct that they should use words that they don't really understand, like thus, and they throw it randomly into a sentence like toilet paper belonging on a dinner table during a 3-course meal. It just doesn't make any sense. So he starts saying things like thus, and you have maniacally ruined my dungeon, and I can't even speak so stupidly as this man was speaking. And he goes on saying, I am a piece of shit, therefore, forthwith, heroically, I will be acting like a piece of shit, thus, 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 and so on and so forth. So I realise that our tank friend is going to try and wipe us again. Yes, he is. So I don't DPS anything. Because I have seen this happen before. I have seen this happen before. So I wait in the corridor as we go up the elevator, and the rest of the group carries on merrily, thinking it's all over. It's all over. I know it's not over. Our tank pulls everything. including the big dogs in the last room, both packs leaning up to it, and then hops himself, or bubbles, or does something, and tries to kill the whole group. Once again, our blood DK, or our frost DK, goes blood, tanks everything, can't kill him. So he pulls the boss on top of this. I'm watching from down the corridor like a creeping little child watching your parents have sex and giving it all that. Why is that man beating my mother? Why is my dad beating my mother so hard? She's crying out in pain. And I'm watching her down as people start to die. As they drop to their knees. And he is cheering. But one thing he hasn't noticed is the person who is responding to him and giving him abuse. I started the spam tactic. You've seen it before on Facebook where I put one word in every line and fill his chat going lol, lol, loser, loser. Nothing drives an egotistical maniac more crazy than behaving in such a way. I was YouTubing. I frapsed it all as well. And he's getting more and more mad as people start to die. The healer dies, DK dies, the monk dies, and suddenly he's left on his own. But Preacher is at full health. And not even in the room. Can't be attacked. He dies. I heroically walk into the room, stand there, and flex above his corpse. I couldn't think of anything better to do. I walk in, and I flex, and I'm like, the only person who didn't die here was me, which is pretty awesome. I then res everybody, and then we proceed to kill the boss because he couldn't do that. He then adds me to friends. Now, I'm not sure how this works, but he left the group and spammed me with, I am the type of person that is destroying this game. Me. I'm the one who is destroying this game. And he will ban me for my use of abuse. And so you can expect my account to be definitely banned very soon. I'm trying to find the screenshot, but I don't think I've got it. It was here. I'm going to be banned. Yeah, I'm going to be banned. Oh, to meet myself from way back then. Fun times. So, getting back to our rogue after that brief interlude. Getting back to our rogue. Yeah, watch out, permaban. Oh no. I was surprised how he could whisper me after I'd left the group though, because I couldn't reply. I tried, but he wouldn't let me. Little drama Wednesday. Pretty good. Brief 15-minute story. Okay, so our rogues in Ogrimmar. Why? Why are you here? This actually bothers me more than it should, because this is the kind of subject we've touched on many workshops already, especially for the rogues. Your rogues should be doing better than this, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something was wrong, but you are so far away. I mean, even the priest is. We're way back here, and then we're not even sprinting in. Now this is the big thing, and it's seriously it's the most aggravating thing about any rogue video I watch. Is you have multiple ways of not being far away. And if you are far away, you have multiple ways of getting back to the boss to do damage. So if I was in this situation, if I'm in this situation where we've pulled the boss and I'm way back here, why in God's name are you not sprinting in? Oh, there it is. Why didn't you do it there? Why? Why did it take you so long to sprint in? It annoys me. It's horrendous. But we're in. We're in and we're kicking ass and we're taking names. We're tracking trinket procs. Awesome. Really cool to see that. It's always nice for the rogues. Not so much for mutilate, but it's good to see. It's good to see. I did not see Shadow Step on the bars. Now, I don't think I looked earlier. I could not see Shadow Step. So, whatever. YOLO, YOLO. Now, our damage is going to be pretty normal through here. Now, one of the problems that this guy sent to me is that I don't have enough energy. That's kind of intentional. Now, I'm just going to pause it there because obviously we did something really crazy. I don't have enough energy. I must be doing something wrong. I don't have enough energy. And it's a common problem amongst rogues, especially if they came from Cataclysm, where we were dripping in energy. We had energy coming out of our ass. We were full of energy, and it was weird. Now we're not. And this is when I talk to you about playing slowly. A lot of rogues like to rush. They're stabbing constantly. We're like, mutilate, mutilate, mutilate. And that doesn't really work. It's all about taking our time and pacing. Although we attack very fast, our style of play is actually really slow. And we take it in our stride. In terms of getting more energy, that is how it is. So you've got to kind of work that into yourself. You will have so much energy overall once you stop thinking about it and let it slide. You have more than enough energy to deal with what you're doing. But there's no gem of energy, you know? That's what I'm kind of saying. There's no gem of energy. Now, this backpedaling is a little bit weird. We don't seem to be actively trying. See all these parries here? We had parries on Mutilate. I will just show you that there. Parry, and yeah, parried Mutilates and things like that. Which we know this guy is coming into position. And this is what separates. These seem like minor things, but this is what really separates the good rogues to the bad. We're trying to get to the pool as quickly as possible, but we also don't want to have our attacks parried. We need to plan for that. If we're going to be risking parries, it's worth just kind of manoeuvring it. Going to the side, then moving in quickly, doing all these kinds of things. The tanks are going to do what they can for us. We obviously want to get into the pool super fast. But let's not start wasting our time in the meantime. I see a ton of people on Feng, I want to say his name's Feng the Accursed, who spam their big heavy attacks during Epicenter. Moments like that where you know that there's a situation developing, you don't do that. But I see Warlocks spamming Chaos Bolts into Epicenter. All sorts of crazy things are going on during Epicenter which don't do anything. Which is weird. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We don't want to do that. So we finally backpedal our ass back in. We're in the pool. Boom! Cooldown time. So we obviously know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We've got all our cooldowns up. We're popping our Shadow Blades. We've got our Vendetta on. We're going for maximum deeps. But all the time we're kind of taking it in our stride. If you notice, the key presses are actually really, really kind of relaxed, which is good. Shows a little bit of pre-planning. But I kind of felt like we were watching our energy too much. And this is what led to the discussion of I don't have enough energy. It's very easy to believe we don't have enough energy if we're constantly watching it. And the only reason I say that is our positioning is always bad. It's always bad. It's always shuffling around, a little bit of backpedal here and there, a little bit of side strafing, a little bit of trying to just keep inside. The boss moves, we're not really ready for it. So many minute details about what we're doing indicates to me we're just not watching what we're doing on the screen. We're watching our buttons, which is just weird. We're just watching our buttons because we're keybinded and we have all the information we need right in front of us. But we're still kind of focused on that, and it feels that way, and it affects our DPS, which is kind of shitty. We don't want that to happen. We really don't want that to happen. Getting in the barrier. It almost felt like you were keyboard turning, but I don't think you are. I think you're in that middle step where people still keyboard turn, but they're also mixing in their mouse. They're also mixing in their mouse. And I say that because every now and again your mouse pops up and I see it moving around, and that indicates to me that you're kind of holding down the right mouse button, as you should be. But at the same time, you're actually just shimmying. You're shimmying quite a lot. It was nice use of Vanish there. Really like that to get back into the buff. Good use, like it. Maybe it would have been better while we were in a pool, but that's okay. And we're still backpedaling around, but we're not making much of an effort. There's no effort going into here to try and fix it. It's lazy play. And this is what I'll say to you, is it feels like lazy play when we behave like this. Now, you might be struggling to see what I'm talking about, but it's these little shimmies where we just don't care about what's happening to us. And that's kind of, it's kind of one of the problems when we get into later plays. People get really lazy. I've had a lot of people send me workshops of, I'm really good, but I don't do this because. And in the notes for their workshop, they actually send me, oh, I was going to do this, but I didn't. And it's just really lazy. It's really lazy, and we can't expect to get better if we're going to play lazy. Lazy play is a real pisser. Don't like it. Let's not do lazy play. Let's not do that. Someone's just pointed out, yeah, you're far too zoomed in, man. Let's zoom this motherfucker out. Your rogue doesn't look that good. That animation sucks balls. It really does. The animation really sucks. Again, just backpedaling out. Kind of looking for a max range to get close to the pool. I see what you were going for, but it's a little bit unnecessary because it kind of delays you. And this lag spike's legit, by the way. I see what you're going for is to try and get near the pool. Like, pool is down now, but we didn't look for it then. You've got the right idea. We're just not putting it together. And that's actually hurting your DPS. We know what's going to happen and we're prepared for it, but we're not using the resources we have. And I suspect it's so heavily dedicated to where your vision is. We got a message saying the pool is down. Did we do anything about it? Not really. But we tried to do it way before the pool was down. We were trying to prepare for something way before. When it actually happened, we were doing something else, which sucks. We finally get to the pool and we're settled. God, please change from a Night Elf Rogue. It's just so horrific. How can you play this zoomed in and have a Night Elf Rogue? They just look horrible. They look absolutely atrocious. They look so bad. As I said, yeah, the zoom is so annoying. You don't know what's happening around you. This kind of would help you with the same issue that I'm saying now, is that you're preparing for things. It's your movement that's a huge problem. Your movement is what's causing you the most problems out of everything. It's just, you're not sure where you're going, and you can see this with the constant move. I mean, come on. come on. You can see with this constant shimmying is you thinking about your position, but you're not sure where. We saw this in a workshop last week. I always tell you position, 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 position all the time. Some of you are trying to get there. You're trying to get into the habit of having good, solid position all the time. But what you're actually doing is moving all the time without a place to go. That's the wrong thing. There's two ways of doing this. Am I in a good position? Where do I want to go? Am I in a good position? Can have the answer yes. Yes, I am in a good position. I'll stay where I am. That's a good point, and that's what people are missing out on. When they hear me say position, 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 what we're actually doing is moving all the fucking time for no apparent reason. But we're moving at all the wrong times, and we're not really finding a place to go, which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. Like, you can see here, it's just these little movements, and I don't like that. I really don't like that, and I think it's actually distracting you. Your mind is so preoccupied with, maybe I should be moving, maybe I'm looking down here all the time. I think you're so focused on what your energy is doing, that and you obviously have a lag issue, there's no doubt about that, you can see that here. But you're so focused on what your energy is doing, and are you making best use of it? Are you in the right position? That you're forgetting just the basics. Here we go with the back pedal, but you can see your DK is kind of rolled around. You've got sprint. You've got all these things to take best advantage of all these situations, and you don't use them. You're not using the tools at your hands. You fall into a kind of a trap maybe set by myself, which is position, position, position. Maybe I have put you into this box. I apologize for that, but you can get out of it. Because you're a rogue, you have a million utilities to maximize your play, especially when it concerns movement. Remember that position doesn't mean you're always in a bad position. Just because I ask you to consider your position all the time, the answer can be okay with that. If you are in a bad position, such as attacking the front of the boss, but you know that in a few seconds you'll get the pool, use sprint, get behind there. Make sure you're not getting parries. Those few attacks are what make the difference between number 1 and number 2. Those are the things that really matter. Parrying mutilates, parrying white attacks, parrying poison procs. All these kind of things are what causes you to lose DPS. Use your resources at hand. Please don't play in window mode. And zoom the fuck out. Zoom the shit out. Right. Let's move on to the Moonkin. Because the Moonkin's got some awesome play I really, really liked. But our Moonkin has a very specific problem. And it's great to see people actually sending me this stuff in. This is the kind of stuff I really, really like. So I'm going to play this for you while we talk about it. Now, our Moonkin, I like his UI. I like the DPS we deliver tag that he put on there. Dem Moonkins are really cool. What I would like to say is our Moonkin here is doing Lei Shen 25 normal, which is pretty nice. I believe it's the 25 normal version. I don't think it's the heroic. How long is the video? Yeah, no, it's not. It's normal mode. And his problem is very specific. His problem actually starts to occur when we get better at the game. Where would you start? There. It starts to occur when we get better at the game. It's not so much our rotation that's a problem, or our position. You can see his position is really nice. He's ready for the movement. This is a great place to track this in LFR, is where the hell should you stand on Lei Shen. Out of all the things you can do at Lei Shen, finding out where to stand in LFR is actually pretty cool. His problem is very specific, is that it's at the end of the fight. As you can see, he copes very nicely with the other Moonkin in the group. If I get rid of the screen region and the overlay, you'll see his DPS down in the bottom corner. And you'll actually notice that his DPS is good. He's keeping up with the other Moonkin very, very closely. In fact, I would say both Moonkins and Warlocks right here are actually really, really good. They're both keeping directly on top of each other, which is great to see. It's great to see that happening. Now, the problem he has is, in the last phase, there is an AoE phase with all the ball lightnings. Up until that point, he actually keeps toe-to-toe with the other Moonkin in his group. At the end of the fight, his other Moonkin pulls way, way ahead, and we can't work out why. Now, this is a problem that you're going to find when you're in a good guild. This is one of the advantages of being in the 25-man, by the way. This is one of the advantages, is that you're actually directly up against another player who's usually similarly geared and is also playing the same class as you and spec. Mushrooms, pre-planning. We'll see. Maybe not so much. Maybe not so much. We can actually directly compare ourselves to another player. This is one of the great things about 25, man. We're not just looking at World of Logs, and we're not just, oh, I'm the top DPS in my 10-man, I'm the only Moonkin. Doesn't actually mean that much. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. There's a number of factors that can contribute to that. In a 25, we have two Moonkins side by side. And that way we can actually not only see what the other player is doing, but also work out where we're doing things wrong. So an example would be on Ragnaros Heroic. There was 2 Frost DKs, myself and another one. When it got to the add phase, where we spawn the explosive embers, suddenly I would rocket ahead in the DPS. We'd be pretty even up until that point, but I would just suddenly disappear. I'd be miles ahead. And as we did that phase several times with the seeds, I was constantly demolishing the other Frost DK in our guild. Came down to me just having 1 extra talent point in Howling Blast range. Something as simple as that. We were both doing the exact same things. I could just hit them earlier. Therefore, my diseases tick longer and I could do more Howling Blasts. Easy as that, right? But the other DK couldn't work it out. He's like, we're exactly the same geared. We're the same up until this point. And he's trying to think of crazy things that are going on. And we all do that. We've got the same spells. He must be doing something crazy. He's like, are you risking running in? Are you popping 1,000,000 cooldowns to do extra damage? Are you positioning yourself in such a way? Are you like selling your soul to the devil in order to get more damage here? What the hell is going on? Well, it was just simply I had further range on my Howling Blast. Nothing more, nothing less. I'd even told him about it weeks before that we should do this. And he was like, oh, you're not doing that. Won't make a difference. And it was one of these situations where we are now, but we can't work out what the problem is. We can't work out what the problem is. Wonderful fight, by the way. Oh, a little tip, by the way. If there's something you guys are struggling with and want to get better passively, and you're only doing LFR, play without boss mods. I've done it for the last 2 weeks. It's actually kind of fun. I caught myself sleeping a few times. It's a great way to stop paying attention to your bars. It's actually a wonderful way of doing that. Is even in LFR, just play without boss mods and notice the effects that occur on your character. Actually made me pretty sharp again, which is pretty cool. It was pretty nice to see that. So we're going to go later in the fight. And as you can see, we are so toe-to-toe, it hurts. So toe-to-toe, it's just ridiculous. The difference in DPS is nominal by points of percentages. Absolute points of percentages. It's doing really well. That lovely Lei Shen trinket, tell me when. Now here comes the ball lightnings. We move in. And we get ready. And suddenly it's doing okay there. It's here it starts to become a problem. Later on. We do okay here. We're close position. There goes the hurricane. Here the hurricanes. Here goes lightning whip. Getting out of the way. Still dotting as we move. Good to see. Casting wrath. Lovely position. Oh, your position is glorious, by the way. I just want to point that out. Except for there where you ran away. Thanks for disproving my point. But overall, your position is absolutely amazing. I truly, truly want you to know that. It's really cool. Now here comes the ball lightning again. And we move in. And overall what happens is the difference starts to really pull away to the point where we actually end up dropping percentages. It only happens slowly. Only happens slowly, but over the course of them, it causes it's kind of a deal, right? It starts with like 0.5%. By the end of the fight, it's reasonably big. If we're losing 0.5% of our damage in comparison to our Moonkin brother every time we move in, then there is a number of problems. Now, the first thing I noticed is when you fraps yourself, you can do something pretty amazing. Is you can actually watch what the other guy's doing. You can actually watch what the other guy's doing, and I think it happens on this one. We move out. There's our other. Oh, our other Moonkin is here, by the way. You can see him there. That's the guy. That's the guy who's mocking us immensely. This guy here. Notice he's moving a little bit less, and as we're moving, notice his arms are flying in the air. Notice ours aren't. If I move back here, this is something you should do when you fraps yourself and you're comparing yourself to another player. You can actually see that we're doing different things. So again, here's our Moonkin. Oh, I get a nice shot of this on pause. We're in a better position, by the way. We're closer for the ball lightnings. I like that. We actually adjusted. This is actually amazing. Some of you guys might not realize what's going on here, but you have to spread for the ball lightnings. And he realizes there are people near him who are refusing to move. You know those dickheads who refuse to move? Fuck those guys, right? Spread out, and they refuse to move. This guy's the baller, and he's the one who moves for them, which is pretty good. So he moves over to here. There goes the ball lightnings. See if I can get a shot of this. Now you can see there. We're not doing much of anything, but our Moonkin friend is. We're running in, waiting to do the hurricane. Now this picture tells his fucking story. I'm the one who never moves. Yeah, he does shrooms, but too late. He's laying shrooms. We don't dot while we move in, but what we actually do, it's so small, right? But it makes such a big fucking difference. It's so small. What's causing this disparity is every time we have this AoE phase, we are not using probably 3 global cooldowns. Something as silly as that. In the world of high-end raiding, that costs you. That's losing a nut. Losing 3 or 4 global cooldowns every AoE phase is a fucking nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And it's getting to this situation here. We come to here. Where we know what we need to do. We absolutely know what we need to do. We move out. We're playing really well here, by the way. We get a couple of wraths off. We don't want to go too fast. We move back. I'm not a pro Moonkin by any means, but isn't this fight sort of designed for Displacer Beast? I would have thought so. It would have been a great utility to have here. Just something that came into mind while watching this. This seemed like a perfect fight for Displacer Beast. And there we go. We're moving it. Oh, what a click. What a click. What a scrub. Where were we? It's here. Moves you to cat farm, but you can pop straight back out, right? The one that throws you forward. That one. The one that throws you forward. I thought it was called Display Speeds. I could be wrong. The one that throws you forward. That one. So here we go. Here comes the AoE. There it is. Now our Moonkin on the left never stops casting. We cast a mushroom down. And then we start planning our hurricane there. We're planning it there. Our other Moonkin is not. Our other Moonkin isn't doing that at all. We are. And this is the moment where the difference starts to be made. Because we didn't cast a fucking thing until we got to there. It is Displacer Beast? Cool. Cool. And then we started AoEing. We started AoEing a second or two later. A second or two later when your AoE is ticking for hundreds of thousands of damage is a lot. What is our AoE ticking for? God, that's so small. 224,623 per hurricane tick. Every second or so, 224,000 damage is lost. It's 500,000 damage. If we don't make it in the first couple of global cooldowns, we're talking nearly 1,000,000 damage is lost. That's a lot, and it adds up because this AoE phase happens a lot. Happens a fucking lot, right? Happens all the time. And then we use it. We lose all that damage, and our friend here, who's casting all the time and moving, even if you're casting a dot or something, losing global cooldowns. Although you're pre-planning your hurricane, I want it there. That's cool. Running in and doing that, no good. No good at all. And that's what's costing you every single time, because he's just getting those extra ticks when there's more mobs up. Doesn't matter when it delays, because as mobs die, there's less and less to AoE. Now look at our friend moving out, pretty good, getting back into his position early. I kind of want to note that you're doing really well here, actually, in your position. I can't stress that enough. Your position was fucking awesome. You delayed the Starfall, I believe. Oh no, you popped it there. Yeah. Oh, you got the other Starfall off. Good. Oh no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Oh, that Starfall. Things like that suck. Yeah, you Starfalled as soon as you hit Luna. Is it a dick move or not? Is it a dick move or not to do that? What do you think? I want the opinions here. I want the opinions. He Starfalls as soon as he hits Luna. Right? Would you delay it? Would you delay it to use it on the ads, or would you use it mostly on the boss? What would you guys do? What would you guys do? Bearing in mind, you care about your DPS. You need to die, so I'll kill him. No clue, never gone chicken. Starfall is your passive AoE that happens. Ads, ad delay for ads. It's the golden rule. My eyes. Yeah, I'm a child of Dune. What can I say? I've been drinking the spice. You're going to delay it for ads. You are. And you know why? Because the ads need to die anyway. You're unlikely to be out of Luna when this happens. It's little mistakes like this. It's the 3 or 4 global cooldowns as you're running into the boss. Well, 2 or 3, I don't exaggerate it. 2 or 3 global cooldowns as you run into the boss. It's popping Starfall just before the ads, whereas our friend probably isn't. In fact, if I check here, he's just hit Luna. I bet the first thing he pops is Starfall. Oh, he's just gone into Solar. Okay. Well, he might have used it on the other one. And then we did it again there. We just delayed ever so slightly just to get those extra mushrooms off. It's always the delay. Yeah, it's a scumbag thing to do, some will say. I'd say it's not even a debatable scumbag thing to use your Starfall on the ads. That makes more sense to me. Those ads are dangerous. That's why we lock them down and stun them. I would say it's those little things that you need to be doing. Is your Starfall ran out there. So all this is just no Starfall damage occurring on them at all. And then we delayed again. We delayed again to get those mushrooms off. You can see as we come in here, we just stop casting as we run in. There, we're just not doing a damn thing. And then we cast. So there's another 3 or 4 global cooldowns there. And that's what's causing this separation. Our friend isn't wasting his globals. Perhaps he's even being... You might consider it scumbag. I don't. These ads need to die. Saving your Starfall for using it on the ads actually makes legitimate sense to me. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think that's a dick move at all. But we are just wasting globals every time we run in. We're a little bit too concerned with position, maybe. Because your position is fucking glorious. It is. It's some of the best I've seen in any workshop. You really care about your position. Do you care too much? To the point where it's distracting you. You're getting in the right position. You're getting ready. Did you drop an Ursols there? I wasn't quite sure. Perhaps. But you're still wasting global cooldowns every time you go to AoE. When your brother Moonkin isn't, and he's going for maximum deeps, you're gonna lose. I could combustion them. Why not? Still going on the boss. Still going on the boss. Nothing wrong with the spreading combustion. A lot of people felt combustion spreading was cheesing. It isn't. It isn't. The combustion still does its full effect. No problem with that. We need to not waste these global cooldowns. Because every time we do, we're just losing on DPS. We certainly need to use our Starfall on the ads. I can't even debate that as being a scumbag move. It just isn't. It just is not a scumbag move to do that. Ooh, a little bit far out, maybe. A little bit far out there. Just judging it. Just judging it. Maybe a little bit far out. I would like to have been there. But I'm being a bit picky now on your position. Because your position's really good. Oh, again with a delay. You're popping those mushrooms. I think you went for the extra mushroom to get the burst. I kind of can see that. Although maybe I would have gone for the extra tick. Mushrooms are good. But not compared to Chained Astral Storm or Hurricane. Especially while in Solar or Lunar. Respectively. I'm going to really tease you about your position. I would have kind of gone a different way. Did you pop... Oh, and you Starfalled again. Yeah, you Starfalled again there. So we only had 2 seconds of Starfall on these ads. Only 2 seconds. And I'm just looking now at your Starfall is ticking for so much damage for those 2 seconds. Where we could have had it all here as we moved in and everything. Little tweaks are what's gone. Those tiny little things, man. Those tiny little things are really what separate the men from the boys. And you can see what happened with the damage, by the way. You see, look at the difference now. I was saying that was only 2 AoE phases. Now, you might not think that's a significant difference. It is. There's a noticeable difference now. In fact, everybody else is pretty much caught up. It's not the fact that our other friend has gone higher, but everybody else has gone a lot higher too, because we're just not doing enough. It's a huge difference. It is. It's a huge difference in DPS there that's occurred. It's a good 10k. A 10,000 DPS difference at this stage of the game. Not pretty cool. Not cool to do that. But it's the little things. The delayed global cooldowns really fuck us over, and you're not going to be the best. That's the point here. People will say the boss is going to die. Yeah, but there was a Moonkin that was higher. So people look at him as the better Moonkin. Is it correct? I actually think your position is much better. You're in a much better state to improve if we stop wasting these little things. Stop tweaking these things. Playing a little bit too purist. Top DPSers aren't that purist. They're not. They do the job they're supposed to do. But they also take advantage of situations when it's appropriate. That's how you decide on being a good DPS. We spoke about this in the past. I believe at one point you actually call for a tranquility. I'm not sure if this was your first kill. Bonus loot. Yeah. When did you do it? You did a trank. I didn't write it down. Should have done. Wasn't there. But I know you randomly tranked at some point. Let's see if the cooldown on your trank. It's already on cooldown. 30 seconds? No. But you did randomly trank and you called it out on Ventrilo. That was the other point I wanted to bring up, but I didn't write it down. Is that you tranquilitied randomly. I don't think anybody called for it. And I didn't think it was needed. At all. It's a powerful cooldown. and it was during an AoE phase, and you started tranking, and the situation read to me as an observer that you didn't need that tranquility right then. And that's something else to bear in mind, is that it might be good for your group to do that, but yeah, it's just a waste of DPS if it's not needed. And if it's not needed, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm just trying to see if I can find the point where you did it. Hurricane. So much Hurricane in Astral Storm. I love it. Oh, get your weed on, you bitches. There it is. Ooh, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. That's okay. That's wrong. But I bet your friend didn't. I bet your friend didn't. I noticed that you cast this Tranquility. I wasn't sure if it was needed or not. Let's have a look again. I actually think it was needed. Ah, your friend... there you go, with the Trank. Yeah, it was good. It was a well worthwhile Tranquility. I take it back. It was a good Tranquility. Well played. Well played. You're a very good player. Very good player. Just missing those 1 or 2 cooldowns, right? Just missing those 1 or 2 globals. While your friend, maybe he's even a shitter player than you, but he's not taking advantage of that. He's not giving a shit. If you want to beat him, you need to be the best of both. You need to be the best of both. That was a good Tranquility. No issue with that at all. But those global cooldowns, missing while you're running into the AoE, that's where your problem lies, which was your key issue for sending the workshop. Thank you for sending those in. I actually had fun with those because they were more tricky little things they're quite hard to pick up. Kind of make it more interesting for me. That is the end of the workshop, which is cool. PC's smelling okay, so I am going to stream a little bit after this. Not giving a shit 2013. Yeah, well, DPS, it's an interesting argument to be made. The very good players use a mix of both. They know the need for Tranquility. Some people aren't afraid to say no if a raid leader calls a cooldown and it's really not needed. But that also depends on the faith that you have in your raid leader. There's a lot of people who ask for cooldowns that don't make any sense. It might be something that's pure physical damage and they'll ask for an anti-magic zone. An average to medium player might just drop the AMZ for the sake of not getting shouted at. The better players start saying things like, it won't help here, and then maybe I'll explain it afterwards. Much to the rage of some raid leaders, that happens. But you also need to make the decision on the fly. I was never really asked when I played Moonkin when I should Tranquility. We didn't really have it set up properly. What I did do was know that we needed a Tranquility, and I would do it. I would sacrifice my DPS for that because I prefer getting the kill. When it gets to the stages of it's now time to be the best DPSer, then I start trying to avoid doing those kind of things. I bear in mind that my healers are better geared and they're not asking me for a cooldown, and they're also probably not under the stress of a first kill. There's a lot of stress that comes with a first kill, and people get muddled, they're focused on their own game, that kind of thing. And it's always handy to throw in your own cooldown if you feel it's necessary. That can make the difference between a kill. On farm kills, though, you're going to expect more people to be relaxed. You're going to expect people to be asking for cooldowns if it's necessary. Maybe that's the time you start not doing that and seeing how it rolls. I'm not saying that was a bad Tranquility. I think it was the correct call. Was it really needed, though, is a question you might ask yourself later when you're wondering why your DPS is lower in the AoE, where your friend who didn't Tranquility is higher. Now, you know the answer, but do you feel comfortable with that? You are a better player, I would say, just from judging. Just from making a judgment on what I can see the other player doing, I would say you are probably a better raider and have much more potential to go further. I think you do 2 out of 13 heroic now, I think you said. You have potential to be much better if you chose to take that path. But you're just missing out on a couple of global cooldowns. And that's a crime. Missing global cooldowns as DPS is a crime. You should do anything to avoid it. Even if it's cast something silly. Cast something. If you can't attack with your main spells, cast something. Get it out there. Keep DPSing. At all costs. It really is worthwhile. Alright guys, that's the end of the workshop today. If you have a workshop to send me, please send it to workshop@preachgaming.com. Please upload it to YouTube. It makes my life so much easier. It really does. Allows me to review them quickly as well. I know some of you are sending me stuff that you've uploaded to private servers. I've got about 6 at the moment that you've uploaded to your home servers. I'll still look at them for now, but I kind of want to call a day on that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the ass. It's a total pain in the ass. Plus, I can't check whether it needs a workshop or not before I download it, which sucks. Which really sucks. Also, for anybody after a laugh, I recommend you check out the comments on the PG Quickies video for this week, where the Lord of the Rings guys have gone ham on my interpretation of Lord of the Rings Online, which of course was a super fantastic game, and I didn't give it a fair shot. I will be streaming after the workshop, and I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, I kind of wanted to say there is no web show this weekend because I had to go out of town, but that might have been cancelled. I haven't had it confirmed. I will confirm tomorrow on that. For everyone else, have a great evening. If you're raiding, it is Wednesday. I assume a lot of you are going to be raiding. Good swag. It's farm day. Make sure you get good loots. Make sure you've got your coins ready. And have a great evening. I hope that picks up for some of you who are going DPSing tonight. Don't waste your global cooldowns. Don't waste it on anything. Be good. And I will see you for the live stream in about 5 minutes. I still haven't really decided what we're going to play. We'll see. Bye, guys.